Welcome, fellow bookworms, to TBR's Den. My name is Whitney, and today we have our 5th round of Once Upon a TBR Hunny Jar, which is my TBR game, and we are choosing our books for May. Or my books for May, rather. I am so excited. I look forward to playing this each month. Like, the moment it's done, I'm ready to play again. I do have a little bit of, I guess people call it housekeeping. I created some new prompts that I just forgot when I was creating the first round of prompts that I really wanted to add in. So I went ahead and got those created. So I'm going to add them in now, even though my honey jar is still quite full. I'm still going to add those in because I'm excited for them. And then we also did complete our March TBR as far as the game was concerned, which the game is the only thing that matters when it comes to my punishment, which is to roll over at least one of the books that I didn't get read. If I didn't get them all read, I have to roll over one of them and read that before I can start on my current TBR. And my reward, I just get a little reward token here, and then I just keep it. And if I come across a honey jar prompt that I just don't want to use at that moment, I can pull this and use it and just go with the genre instead of the honey jar prompt. So that will be just hanging out until I decide to use it. I don't have to use it this round. I can use it at any point in time. So I'll just have that as my little token. Now, there was one book, I already put it away, so I'll insert a picture, that I just decided it's been rolled over since January, and I decided I did not want to roll it over anymore, and that is The Sight by David Clement Davies. I'm not interested in reading it right now anyway. I mean, I'm still interested in it. It's just, it keeps getting rolled over. It's a larger book, and it's not one I'm super excited for. The prompt for that one was Lady and the Tramp, animal main characters. And the genre for it was actually romance, which I didn't have a romance with animal main characters, and that's why I pulled that one, because it's kind of a wolf family. So hopefully I can pull this with a genre that will work a little bit better for it. So this is going to go back into the jar since I did not read it. I had other books that I rolled over that I read. But yeah, this one is just going to go right back in the jar here. So I'll just kind of put it where it can get like mixed in a little bit. And I'm just going to run through the new prompts with you real quick, and we'll put those in the jar as well. So we have a little stack here. And like I said, I'm really, really excited for some of these. Like, I completely forgot about 101 Dalmatians, Aristocats, Pinocchio. And so I have those. I have a couple more bookworm prompts, and just some other prompts as well. I did Spirit because even though it's not Disney, it's DreamWorks, one of my favorite movies. So go ahead and start here. First up, we have Mickey, Donald, and Goofy. So just kind of Disney. That's classic. So I don't know why I didn't think of it before. So each of these have 4 different prompts. And so the first one for these 3 is friend group, because obviously they're a group of friends. So just a book that has a group of friends. I'm going to try to kind of put these in different areas here. The next one for these 3 is Grumpy Sunshine, because Donald is really grumpy, and then Mickey and Goofy are all happy and sunshiny. So that's why I did that one. Then we have Childhood Favorite. I think, Mickey and the gang are definitely childhood favorites. And then lastly, we just have classic Disney. So this can be a book like that's a retelling of a classic Disney film, Cinderella, Snow White. Like, not some of the more modern stuff, but like the classics. It could be that, or like there's the Twisted Tales, or it could just be a classic in general as well. So that's gonna go in here. Just get it in. Next up, we have Pinocchio. I don't know how I forgot Pinocchio. I think it's because I didn't really watch Pinocchio as a kid. We didn't have it. The only time I watched it was my grandparents had it. So if I went over there, I could watch it, but I wasn't a big Pinocchio girl as a kid, and it's still not one of my favorites today, but I still like it. So first up, we have Father and Son, because obviously that's a big thing for Pinocchio. Then we have Voice of Conscience for Jiminy Cricket, of course. Um, then we have middle grade or younger, because he's just a young little lad there. Then lastly, we have translated work, because Pinocchio is based off an Italian folklore or story. And so I don't really have many options for Italian books, so I just thought a translated work would work for that. Next, we have the 101 Dalmatians, which I can't believe I forgot them. And so first up, we have True Love, because not only do you have Pongo and Purdy's love, but also Anita and Roger, I think is his name. It's been a while since I watched that one. Then we have Found Family, because they take in all those poor little puppies. So we got that. Then we just have black and white, because not only black and white for the Dalmatian colors, but also for Cruella de Vil. So, and lastly, we have, excuse me, got a tickle on my nose. We have another dog pick. You know, I love my dog picks, so I had to throw another one. And the dog picks actually go back in. Like, there's some of the prompts that I just really like, and so they go back in. They don't stay pulled out. I actually reuse them. Then for the Aristocats, we have upper class, you know, because obviously they have like a butler and they're very spoiled. So just, you know, something that has upper class in some way. Then we don't have near enough cat picks. I think I had one, but that was it. So of course we had to do another cat pick for that. Then we have cat characters, so it has to have a character that's a cat in the book itself. Then we have for O'Malley and the gang, we have On the Streets. So just, you know, orphan, or they're, you know, got ran out of their home or something like that. They don't have a home. And then next we did Brother Bear, because I forgot about Brother Bear as well. That was a little bit after my time. I remember when my nieces were littles when this one came out. But I really do enjoy Brother Bear. And so first we have Spiritual Element. So that's going to go right on in there. Then we have Alaskan Landscape in Brotherly Love. So something with brothers, of course. And lastly, just In the Woods. So I think a lot of thrillers kind of take place in the woods, so I thought that would be a good one. Then we have Alice in Wonderland, another one I don't particularly like, but I figured I needed to include it. So first up, we have kind of an alternate reality situation. Not like, or different worlds, but not quite different worlds, you know, like not like on another planet, but like a different reality. Another cat pick for the Cheshire Cat. Then we have White Rabbit. So it could either have something to do with a rabbit, it could be white, or I don't know, it could have a rabbit character, just something to do with a rabbit. I thought about doing that one as a free pick because my channel name, TBRs, is a rabbit. So it's a rabbit's den backwards, though, a rabbit spelled backwards. But I do have a lot of free picks, so I just something with a rabbit. Because there are several rabbit books that I do want to read, like Bunny, Cursed Bunny. Like, I don't remember the people, the authors, but. And then we have Red Queen, so it can have red on the cover, it can have royalty, a heart, just something like that. So that's what I did for that one. These ones are a little bit floppier than the others. And then we have Spirit, which is a DreamWorks, but it's like one of my favorite movies. And I was watching it the other day. I was like, I gotta do some prompts for Spirit. And so first up, of course, you gotta do Native American rep. We gotta have that rep. And then the soundtrack for Spirit is like one of my favorite soundtracks ever. And so something either song or music inspired, so I can do like a random song generator and do a book based on that song, or it can have music in it, just something, because like I said, the soundtrack is one of my favorites. And then a horse rep, so it could have something to do with horses. Lastly, Old West, so like a Western type book would be perfect for that. Then we have Ice Age, which again isn't one that's particularly one of my favorite, but I had some prompt ideas, so I wanted to include it. And so just Ice Age in general, so it, takes place in an ice age would work. Um, Extinct Animals, so like a dinosaur book or something like that would be cool for that. A big book, because you have Manny the Mammoth, so big book for me is over 500 pages. So more like over six. If it's over 600, I start getting intimidated. And then because you have like Manny the Mammoth and Sid the Sloth, I did author alliteration, because I do already have alliteration. For Gopher, I did Whistles and Wheezes, which is alliteration, but this one specifically the author name. So, the letters of the name start with the same, of the first and last name start with the same letter, because like I said, you have those Manny the Mammoth and Sid the Sloth and whatnot. Then we have the Emperor's New Groove, and so for this one, kind of a redemption arc, which you don't necessarily know going in, so I'm going to look for books that have like an anti-hero, hoping that it will have like a redemption arc, because Cusco is not very lovable, and he has a lot of growing up to do. And then because it's just a funny movie, I did a comedy, because I don't read near enough books that have humor in them at all. Then because it's his 18th birthday, I did young adult. And then lastly, overthrown. So royalty that has been overthrown is kind of trying to get back on the throne, essentially. Then I did the Swan Princess, because this is one of my favorite ones from childhood. And so, Cursed to be an Animal. I just read the Six Crimson Cranes, which would have worked for this. So I figure I can probably find books where that one will work. Childhood Enemies, because they're arranged in a marriage, but they don't like each other when they're younger, before they fall in love and once they're a little older. And then, of course, we have an arranged marriage, which can also be a marriage of convenience, just a marriage for a reason. But I'm going to try to go with arranged marriage where I can. But if I can't find something, I can settle for like a marriage of convenience. And then Moonlit Lake, so it can either have a lake aspect, or it can have like a moon on the cover or something like that. I wasn't really sure how to phrase that one, so I just went with that, and it's kind of up for interpretation. Then we have Rumpelstiltskin, so I just have the spinning wheel here. And so name in the title, because it's all about names there. And then golden bargain, so it could have something to do with gold, or there could be a bargain involved. Like that. Then Brothers Grimm, I have the complete fairy tale collection of Brothers Grimm, and I've never actually read it, so I think that would be a good way to get like that done. I can choose a fairy tale from there to read, and then of course fairy tale retelling in general. So we did that. And then lastly, we have 4 bookworms. So first, I love when people include this in their game. I think it's really fun to watch. So I did higher or lower. So I've seen people do this 2 different ways. They either do playing cards, and they have a book they really want to read and a book they don't want to read. And they gotta, I think it's like 5 cards, and you flip one over, and then you decide whether the next one's going to be higher or lower. And if you get to the end, you get to read the book you really want to, and if you don't, you have to read the other one. And I've also seen people roll a die, and so I've seen them do it 2 ways too, multiple people. You can either roll it and get a number, and then if it's the next roll is higher than that, you get to read the book you want, and if it's lower than that, then you have to read the book you don't really want. And then I've also seen people do it where they roll like a d20, and if it's less than 10, it's the book that you don't really want, and if it's more than 10, it's the book you want. So I'll kind of probably do the d20 version of that because that's going to be easiest for me. But like I said, I really enjoy when people do that. So and then because I'm starting to rack up some books that I have not read and they're going back on my shelves, I decided to add in failed TBR to hopefully get those books back on my TBR and get them read. And then I saw this, who was it? I can't remember the channel now, but if you happen to be watching this, thank you. But or if you have this as a prompt, I'm sure I've seen it on multiple channels. I decided to do dictionary word of the day as a prompt because again, you never know what word you're gonna get, and it's just really, really interesting. The channel I'm thinking of, they got, I don't remember the exact word, but it's basically like sledding, like dog sledding or something like that. So you're on like skis um or such. And so, that could have been a really hard one. And so I thought that was interesting. And then this one is a popular prompt that I've seen around. I just wanted to add it. And so that's last letter, first letter. So either the last letter, I'm going to probably do it the last letter of the last book I picked will need to be the first letter of the next book. But like say I get this the first, as the first prompt, then I can do maybe the last book I read the last letter of that book has to be the first letter of the next one. We'll kind of see in what situation this comes up, but most likely it'll be the last of the book. But I do kind of pick like in oddball orders. I don't pick like linear. I do my gameplay and then I go back and pick, and I kind of jump around because there's some prompts I know exactly what I want and some prompts I don't. So I might do it off the last book I read, but we shall see. So that is all the new prompts in here. Kind of shake it around a little bit. So, so yeah, that's new prompts, which should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to seeing what I can get today. But before we get into that, there are some books that I do want to get onto this TBR. So first up, of course, I have my genre-a-thon books, which actually don't go on to my official TBR. They're just kind of extra books. But again, I am reading two books for my genre-a-thon. And basically, genre-a-thon is year-long and each month focus on a different genre. For May, it's actually not a genre, it is an age range. So it's YA May. And I'm just trying to get a book in that age range in a genre that is outside my comfort zone. So I decided to go with kind of sci-fi slash dystopian books because those are definitely outside of my comfort zone. And so the first one I'm going to be actually listening to is War Girls by Tochi Onyabuchi. I'm probably mispronouncing that. So I'm going to be listening to that. And that one's basically, that one I'm not going to get in my game. It's not going to count, but it's about 150 years in the future, and you have climate and nuclear disasters have led to a war-torn Nigeria, and you have two sisters who are trying to fight for a better life. And so I got that on Audible, and I'm going to be listening to that. And then I also decided to go with a physical book on my shelves, and that is The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. I've never particularly loved the movies. I've enjoyed them, but they're not my favorite movies. And I've never had a driving interest to pick up the books. But my mom gave this to me ages and ages ago, and I recently found the other two at a thrift store a few months ago. And so I figure it's time. And this is definitely outside my comfort zone. This one, since it's not my official pick for my genre-a-thon, if I can get this on the game TBR, I'm definitely going to try because that's going to help me out. I also have some rollovers that I'm still trying to, which these ones won't go on the official TBR, either of these two anyway, because I've already started these. So we have The Choice by Nora Roberts, which I'm reading with my husband. We're about halfway through, so we're going to continue that. Hopefully finish it this month. And then we also have Little Women by Louisa May Alcott, which I've been reading since December. I did read a few more pages, about 50 pages in March. It's the beginning of April when I'm filming this. I'm hoping to read a little bit more. And then if I can finish this in May, that would be great because my April TBR is crazy. I might not even need this on my May TBR if I can finish it in April, but we'll just see how my husband and I do. So those two are potential to roll over to May rather. And then these next two are my last two from my ABC Author Challenge. So we have E by W.M. Paul Young. And these have been rolling over since December, and I just haven't been able to get to them. I know I won't have a chance to get to them in April. I might be able to start this one, but I seriously doubt it. So that one's definitely going to go into May, and so is Who is the River by Paul Zallis. If I can get either one of these on my official TBR from my game, I will do so. Then, as far as the other books I'm interested in adding, we have the next Death Note Volume 3 of the Black Edition, so it has volumes 5 and 6 of the manga series. And I just want to continue the series. I did manga slash memoir for my genreathon in March, and really enjoyed the second volume of this, which I read in March. Still kind of outside my comfort zone, but I enjoyed it enough. I want to continue on with the rest of the series, so I'm hoping I can get this on there as well. Then I did continue the Dresden Files in March as well. So I would like to go with the 15th book, which is Skin Game, and this is by Jem Butcher. So I'm hoping I can officially get that. I am participating in Autism Reads, which is kind of a read along, book group put on by Christine over at An Autistic Reader. And the choice for May is Can You See Me by Libby Scott and Rebecca Westcott. And so, if I could officially get that on there, that would be great, but we shall see. Then I want to continue in the Old Kingdom series. So we have the second one, Lyrael by Garth Nix. Wanted to get it on my April TBR, wasn't able to. So I'm hoping I can get it on my May because I really want to continue with that series. And then this one I've been wanting to read forever now, and then I finally hauled it at the beginning of the year, and I've been wanting to read it, and it just hasn't quite worked out. So I'm hoping I can get this, and that's Lots Away by Darcy Little Badger. So we will see about that. And then I have a couple of books that I just want to continue the series. I'm continuing the series in April, so I haven't read the next books yet. Hopefully I'll get to them, and then I can just continue with these if I can get them on my May TBR. So next we have the Four Horsemen series. We have Famine by Laura Thalassa. I always try to add an S on the end. I'm going to be reading War in April, so then I'm hoping to get through this one in May, and then the final one in June would be awesome. So we have that one. And then the War of Lost Hearts series. The third one is Mother of Death and Dawn by Carissa Broadbent. I'm reading the second one, Children of Fallen Gods, in April. And so, again, I want to just get this one read as well if I can get it on my official TBR. And then lastly, this one's not a huge priority because it's just a collection of stories, but we have Gleanings, which is stories from The Arc of a Scythe by Neil Shusterman. I completed the series in March, and so I would like to read this if I can. If I can't, it's not a huge priority. Like I said, I'll get to it at some point. So those are all the books I would like to get to. I'm going to go ahead and get my game board all set up, and then I will be right back with the gameplay. All right, so first we have to, of course, choose our character. And just a reminder, if we roll a 1, it's Christopher Robin, which is a coming of age or a middle grade and younger. If we get a 2, that's Pooh, which is a classic or comfort read. 3 is Piglet, which is an auto by author or a reread, and 4 is Rabbit, which is a free choice. So let's go ahead and roll and see what we get. And another reminder, I do have the reward token, and so if I decide there's a honey jar prompt I don't want to use, I can exchange it for this and just go with the genre. But first, let's see what character we're playing. Awesome. So we got a 3, which is Piglet. And so again, that is an auto by author or a reread. All right. Oh, and then also a reminder for our genres. If we land on blue, it's sci-fi. Yellow is historical. Green is fantasy. Red is romance. Orange is mystery or thriller. Purple is any genre. And if I land on black, I need to move forward 3 spaces, and then I'll use the genre for that color. But I do have to pull 2 honey jar prompts if I land on black. And the only time that rule doesn't apply is this last black space. Then I just go forward 2 to the North Pole blue. And if I land on here, it's a special square, so I go back and sit on the bench, which it's a special square. So it's any genre. And yeah, so that's about it. Otherwise, I just move forward. So let's go ahead and pick our first disc. And hopefully it's nicer than it was in April. Ooh, so we got our first black, which moves us all the way. That's a good start. And we go 1, 2, 3. So we land on fantasy, but we need to pick 2 honey jar prompts. Now, if I can choose one book and it fulfills both prompts, that's fine. Otherwise, I have to choose 2 books. So let's see what we're going to get here. So let's see here. So we need a fantasy, but it could be a free choice, which helps because I should be able to combine that with a lot. And this is Rabbit. Again, my channel name is a rabbit spelled backwards, so that works out really nicely. And then for our second one, let's see what we got here. Let's go this one. So we got dictionary word of the day. So that will be interesting. So yeah, I'm gonna have to do a dictionary word of the day and see what we can come up with that fits a fantasy. And that's one of the new ones I just put in too. So at least we got a nice jump forward. And let's see where we're going from here. This one. So that is a red. So not too far forward. Go there. And so we need a romance. This one. Awesome. So we got romance. That's a cat pick. That's going to be fun. I haven't had a cat pick so far, so I'm really excited for that one. And that was Puss in Boots. All right, let's see what we can get next. And a green, so we're only moving 1. So this is actually a special square. Piglet or Rabbit to next green. So I actually get a jump up here. And since it's a special square, I don't have to worry about the genre, just the honey jar. So it can be any genre, but it needs to, let's see, let's go with this one. Ooh, okay, this works. So Brothers Grimm, which works since I don't really have a choice on the genre for that one. All right, let's see what we got next. This one. And we have a blue, so that's a sci-fi. And so we need a sci-fi that one's popping out. Ooh, I'm excited for this one. So we need a sci-fi that's either an employee or a librarian pick. So I can either go to a bookstore and have an employee pick out a sci-fi, or I can have go to my library and have a librarian pick out a sci-fi for me. That one's a fun one. I've been wanting to get that one. All right. Let's see where we go next. And we got a yellow, which only moves us one. So, um, let's see. So yellow again is historical. It doesn't have to be fiction. I know it says that on my little card. It just has to be a historical book. And we'll go this one here. Ooh, so a historical that has a female main character. That's going to be easy. Okay. So hopefully we start getting some more movement. We started off really good and now we're kind of slowing down here. Let's go ahead and do this one. And that's an orange. Not moving too far, but that's a mystery or thriller, so we're getting a nice variety this month. So mystery or thriller that. Let's go with this one. I don't know how easy this one's going to be. A mystery or thriller that has a sports rep. So we'll have to see what I can do there. Alright. See where Piglet's going to next. Hopefully he gets the little jump here. And we got another yellow, so another historical. And that jumps us really far. Jumps us right here. And so we need another historical that... This one. Whoops. Okay, so this is one of the new ones. So we got a historical that has a redemption arc. So we'll see what I can do there. And Dog Pick jumped out, but it's going back in. So that's not the one my fingers chose. Alright, we're cruising right along here. And this one. Another yellow. So you do get a jump ahead again. And so we need another historical. Let's go. That one. This one. Ahaha. So historical, but it's TBR. And so I need to do ABC author, which is a random letter generator for the author's name. Alright. See here. Let's go with this one. So that's a red. And this is actually another special square, so it's Piglet to yellow. So we'll go here. And so again, since it's a special square, it can be any genre, but it does need to... this one. Okay. And we got autumn theme, so it can be any genre, but it has to have an autumn theme. Alright, so we're getting down to the end here. So if I pull a color that I can't move, it just gets set to the side for now until I can move. So let's see what we get here. This. And that is an orange. So we get a move there. So again, a mystery or thriller. That. Let's do this one. Ooh. So mystery or thriller that has a number in the title. Alright. So now I need a black, a red, or a blue, otherwise I can't move. So let's see what we get. And this, once I get one of those, it'll be the end of the game because I'll make it to the North Pole. Let's go with this one. So green, can't move. That just gets set off to the side there. Go with this one. Purple, can't move. Go with this one. And we get a blue, so that gets us to the North Pole. That is our final prompt. And so we need a sci-fi that... Okay. So this one, I don't know that I'm going to be able to do this, but it's through the ages challenge. So basically, I'm gonna choose like a decade, and then the book has to be either set or published in that decade. So we'll see if I can find a sci-fi that works for this. I don't know that I will though. So we shall see. But that is it for the game play. So not too bad. We got 11 move plus the Piglet, the character. So 12 books. That's really not bad. I'm going to go ahead and figure out what I'm reading, and then I will be back to show you the books. Alright, I'm back. I got my books picked out, and I think I got a really good stack here, so I'm really, really excited. I'm glad that the game didn't have a large number of pulls, because I do have several that I'm hoping to add on as extra books, that I just wasn't able to fit in for the prompts, so I'm really happy about that. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into what I ended up picking. So, of course, first we had our character pick, which we got Piglet, which is either an auto by author or a reread. So, I'm going with one that fits both. I'm going to be reading Nora Roberts' Untamed. Nora Roberts is obviously an auto by author for me, and this one I have read before. I don't remember it though. This is one of the earlier ones I've read, and I don't remember it at all. So it will be like I'm reading it for the first time, though it is a reread. And so Jovelette Wilder had the heart of a lion and the temper of a wildcat. And when Keenan Prescott first crossed her path, she had her claws bared. Jo was certain her beguiling new boss imperiled everything she cared for, but she couldn't deny the overpowering attraction that sizzled between them. And though Kian's kisses left her breathless with longing, it was the tenderness he showed her that threatened to tame her heart. If I'm remembering right, I think there's kind of like a circus theme or something in this one, but like I said, I really can't remember. So it'll be interesting to see what I think of this now that I'm rereading it. And then we landed on a black. So this was our first pull, was a black disc, which black means you move forward 3 spaces and use the genre for that. And so we moved forward 3, and it was a green space. And because it was a black, we had to pull 2 of the Hunny Jar prompts. So if I can combine both these prompts and get one book, that's fine. Otherwise, I have to choose 2 books. But the first poll was Rabbit, which is free choice. So obviously, that makes it really easy to combine with whatever. And then we got one of the new ones I just put in, which is a bookworm, and it's Dictionary Word of the Day. So that's really fun. I'll go ahead and insert a screenshot here, but I got Demarche, and it's a course of action or maneuver, especially political or diplomatic, a petition or protest presented through diplomatic channels. And so it needs to be a fantasy that fit that. So for this one, I am going to be going with Mother of Death and Dawn. It's the third one in the War of Lost Hearts trilogy by Carissa Broadbent. I've only read the first one. I'm reading the second one in April, which I'm filming this. It's the beginning of April, so I haven't read it yet. But based on what I know from the first one, I thought it worked really well. One, it's fantasy. Two, Tasana was a slave, and so she goes to the orders and she's petitioning them to help her to free her friends and family. Um, and so it's kind of, she's petitioning them. There's wars going on. It is political. So I thought this one worked very, very well for that. So, and it is chunky. It's like 709 pages. So I'm glad I was able to get it officially on the TBR instead of having to try to add it in. And yeah, I'm really excited. Like I said, I'm going to be reading the second one in April. I'm excited for that. And then I'm excited to continue on and finish up the trilogy in May. So that's awesome there. Then let's see here. Then for poll 2, we got a red, which is romance. And for this one, we got Puss in Boots, which is a cat pick. Kind of a struggle to get the cats to cooperate as always. So I tried several different times, and finally I was able to get the dogs outside, and they were out there doing their thing, and I just opened the door and shook the treat thing and was able to get a cat in here. So for this one, I gave them the option, so it had to be a romance. So I did Again the Magic by Lisa Kleypas. This is the prequel to the Wallflower series, and be over at Mama Needs to Read Romance recommended I start there. We finished up the Friday Harbor series, and so I was like, which one? I have the Wallflower and the Hathaways, and so she recommended I start here, and this is like her favorite. So I had to throw that down, and then I do want to continue on with the Four Horsemen series. I'm reading book 2 in April, and so this is book 3, and it's Famine, and this is by Laura Thalassa. So I really want to continue that series. And then because it's a cat pick, and I do have a cat named Adeline, and this is a cat and mouse duology, I gave Haunting Adeline by H.D. Carlton as a choice as well. I kind of wanted to finish up like the Four Horsemen and some other series before I started on this one, but I mean, cat pick and it needed to be a romance. Like, I could not go with this one. And this one is like I said, duology. So that was the options. I'll go ahead and insert the clip here. Sherlock over here. Sherlock's the one that came in. He is a big foodie, so he came in and he ended up choosing Haunting Adeline, which was perfect. So even though I wanted to start or finish off others, I've been really anxious to start this one. I am nervous though. This one has a lot of trigger warning. It is very dark. It's a stalker romance. It's extremely dark. There's a lot of trigger warnings. So if you are interested in this at all, make sure you look those up. Don't just go into this blind. Um, and I'm not sure how I'm gonna feel reading it, but I am excited to get this one started and then hopefully maybe get the duology, the second one, this summer. So that is that pick. Then let's see here. Then we got three. So we pulled a green, which is a fantasy, but it was a special square for Piglet and Rabbit to move to the next green spot. And since we were playing Piglet, it does count as a special square. Special square means I can ignore the genre, so it does not need to be a fantasy in this case. But I did pull Rumpelstiltskin, Brothers Grimm, so this is another new prompt that I just added. And so we have the Grimm's complete fairy tale collection here. So I was kind of debating, I didn't know if I should just do a certain number of pages or how I should do this. I decided since this was pull 3 that I would just require myself to read 3 stories from this in order to fulfill the prompt. I'll probably end up reading more most likely, but I just need to read 3 of them to fulfill the prompt. So that's what we're going with there. Really excited. I got that for Christmas over 10 years ago. So it's, a long past time I kind of broke into it and started reading some of these fairy tales. So there's that one. Then this one's going to be a fun one. We pulled a blue, which is a sci-fi. And for this one, we got Bookworm, and this is either an employee or librarian pick. So the people at my library aren't very friendly, and I'm not really comfortable going in there and asking them for recommendations. So I don't know what I'm going to be reading for this. What my plan is I'm going to go down to the bigger city and at some point in April, and I will go to the little used bookstore and have one of their staff pick me out a sci-fi, because their staff is really friendly, and there's normally multiple people, and so I know, maybe one person doesn't really read sci-fi, maybe somebody else does, and they can help me out, because there is a little bookstore in my town, but I don't get the vibes of the proprietor that she is a sci-fi reader. And so yeah, I'm most comfortable going to the used bookstore down in the bigger city and asking them. So you won't get to know what I'm reading until my wrap up. So you won't even see that until the beginning of June. So a couple months for you guys, but I'm really excited to see what ends up getting picked, especially because sci-fi is not like a go-to genre for me. I am delving into it a bit more recently, mostly YA sci-fi. So I'm excited to see what they might pick for me, which is going to be a lot of fun. So then for poll 5, we got yellow, which is historical. And for this one, we got perfect prompts because we got Goldilocks, which is just a female main. And so that made it really easy on me. This is one of the easier prompts to fulfill. And I'm going to be going with Follow the River by James Alexander Thom. And this is a novel based on the true ordeal of Mary Ingalls. So really excited. I found this at a thrift store, and I've been every month I kind of eyeball it. So I'm excited to finally get it on the TBR. And it says, Woman of Courage. Mary Ingalls was 23, happily married, and pregnant with her third child when Shawnee Indians invaded her peaceful Virginia settlement in 1755 and kidnapped her, leaving behind a bloody massacre. For months they held her captive, but nothing could imprison her spirit. With the rushing Ohio River as her guide, Mary Ingalls walked 1,000 miles through untamed wilderness no white woman had ever seen. Her story lives on, extraordinary testimony to the indomitable strength of one pioneer woman who risked her life to return to her own people. So I'm really, really excited for that one. There's that. Then let's see, pull 6. We pulled an orange, which is mystery or thriller. And we got another bookworm, and this one was sports wrap. And I was struggling. I was on my phone looking to see if I had anything, if there was any that I was maybe interested in enough to get. And nothing was popping up as far as like mystery thriller. So then I kind of was looking at my shelves and I saw this one, and it's called Dark Horse, and this is by Margaret Falk. And this has quarter horse racing, which is a sport. So that's what I'm going with. And a terrific tale of murder and mayhem. So definitely a kind of a mystery thriller type. And it says, despite the accidents that were plaguing his business, horse breeder Coke McAllister was sure that Shameless, his prize filly, was going to put him back on top. But now Coke is dead, and his daughter Dakota returns to Arizona, determined to sell the ranch. Yet as she re-enters the gates of Black Oak Ranch, a flood of bittersweet memories draws Dakota back into a past she thought she'd outrun, and into the arms of a man she prayed to forget. 10 years can't dim the desire Dakota still feels for Clay Pierce, the man she loved and married only to end up betrayed and heartbroken. But who else can she trust with the secrets of her father's diary? Who else can she turn to when her life is threatened by an unseen stalker? And who else will hold her through the long nights as cold as the grave? Now, as Dakota enters Shameless in a celebrated race, a desperate killer lays a trap for tonight. Death is galloping side by side with Dawn. So, yeah, I'm really, really excited for this. This has been on my shelf for years. I'm thinking, maybe my mom had it and she gave it to me or something. It wasn't one like I picked out or anything like that, but it is one I'm excited to read because I love horses. So there is that one. And then let's see here. Then we got another yellow, so another historical, and we got another one of the new prompts. So this is Cusco from Emperor's New Groove, and this is redemption art. This was another one that I was kind of looking and trying to find something. And I came across this and The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner. And then based on a little thing I saw, it has redemption. So I'm going to go with it. And it sounds like it probably does. So it says, hidden in the depths of 18th century London, a secret apothecary shop caters to an unusual kind of clientele. Women across the city whisper of a mysterious figure named Nella who sells well-disguised poison to use against oppressive men in their lives. Nella's dark world is no place for her newest patron, a precocious 12-year-old girl named Eliza Fanning. But their unexpected bond sparks a string of consequences that echoes through the centuries. 200 years later, aspiring historian Caroline Parswell discovers an aged apothecary vial in the River Thames. As she is newly grappling with the searing betrayal of her husband's infidelity, a curious research project is exactly the distraction Caroline needs. But when she discovers a link between the vial and London's long unsolved apothecary murders, Caroline's upended present soon collides with an explosive history, binding her fate to Nella and Eliza's in a stunning twist that transcends the barrier of time. So, yeah, definitely excited for this one. This one pops up regularly on YouTube. And so I found this again at a thrift store and I've been wanting to read it. So I'm really, really excited for that one. And this would have fit well for the next one, but I had already chosen it, and fulfilling the redemption arc with a historical was already difficult. But we got another historical, and for this one, we got Tigger. So we got TIGGR, an ABC author challenge. So this one, random letter generator, and then the author's last name needs to start with that letter. So I'll insert the clip here. but I got the letter P, so obviously historical header would have worked. But I was looking, and fortunately for me, I had this one. It's called The Watery Part of the World by Michael Parker. It is a historical, and so yeah, I was excited. And this one I've been, again, found it at the thrift store, tried to put it on multiple TBRs, and it just hasn't worked out yet. And so now is the time. And so this one sounds really interesting to me. It says, in the watery part of the world, Michael Parker creates a vast and haunting story spanning over 100 years of life on a barrier island. Inspired by two little-known moments in history, Parker's tale of love, trust, and the often torturous bonds of family and community begins in 1813 when Theodosia Burr, en route to New York by ship to meet her father, Aaron Burr, disappears off the coast of North Carolina. It ends 150 years later when the last three inhabitants of a tiny island, two elderly white women, Maggie and Miss Whaley, and the black man Woodrow, who takes care of them, are forced to leave their homes and their beloved spot of land. From these skeletal facts, Parker conjures a beautiful windblown place and the intricate love stories that evolved there. So yeah, I'm really, really excited for this one. I think I looked it up on Goodreads and it didn't have the greatest star rating, but it sounds like something that I'll personally enjoy, so I'm excited for that. So there is that one. Then let's see here. We got pull 9. We got another red, so another romance. But this one was Piglet to yellow, and again we were playing Piglet, so he got to move forward to yellow, and that meant that I did not have to follow the genre for this one, which was nice because we got another bookworm and it needed to be autumn themed. And so it was nice that I could just focus on the honey jar prompt. And for this one, I decided to go with Lots Away by Darcy Little Badger. One, the illustrations, the art on the cover, and the illustrations for each chapter makes me think autumn. There's like little leaves on here as well, and with the wind, it just makes me think of autumn. And I kind of looked at the first paragraph and it mentions Halloween. So I think this is going to work for that prompt. And I've been wanting to get this on a TBR. I've been trying to squeeze it in and it just hasn't worked out. So I'm glad it's finally has an official spot so I can finally get it read. But yeah, this one. You have Imagine America, very similar to our own. It's got homework, best friends, and pistachio ice cream. There are some differences. This America has been shaped dramatically by the magic, monsters, knowledge, and legends of its people, those indigenous and those not. Some of these forces are charmingly everyday, like the ability to make an orb of light appear or travel across the world through rings of fungi. Sorry. But other forces are less charming and should never see the light of day. Latsaway lives in the slightly stranger America. She can raise the ghost of dead animals, a skill passed down through generations of her Lipan Apache family. Her beloved cousin has just been murdered in a town that wants no prying eyes, but she is going to do more than pry. The picture perfect facade of Willoughby masks gruesome secrets, and she will rely on her wit, skills, and friends to tear off the mask and protect her family. So, yeah, I've been wanting to read this for so long, so I'm really, really excited to finally do it. And it is heavy. It says it's only got, let's see, 340 pages, but it is a heavy book. Like, it is dense. So, but I'm so excited for that. Then let's see, we had pull 10, which was an orange, so another mystery thriller. And for this one, we got another bookworm, and this one just had to have a number in the title. So for that one, we are going to be going with The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. This will be my first book by Ruth Ware. Again, this is another book I found at the thrift store, which was handy. So this one, I'm not really sure. It doesn't really have a synopsis here. So it says some of the blurbs are an edge of your seat thriller set on the most beautiful yacht in the world, full of great characters and twists. Y'all should check it out. That's by Reese Witherspoon. This beach read thriller has sudden suspense and goes well with SBF. So, a psychological thriller that will keep readers spellbound. The intense final chapters just might induce heart palpitations. So, anyway, don't really know what it's about. I'm assuming they're on a ship because of the porthole, and it's about the woman in cabin 10 would be my guess. So, but we shall see. I'm really excited to finally give that author a try. Then our last pull for the game, we pulled a green, and we weren't able to use that. We couldn't move forward. And then we pulled a purple. We weren't able to use that. And finally, we pulled a blue, which got us to the last space, which is at the North Pole. And so that's again a sci-fi. And for this one, we got another bookworm, and this was through the Ages challenge. So for this one, kind of going by decade, and so I had a random generator and did just a random year. Um, and so I'll insert it here, but for that one I got 1958. So a book set or published in the 1950s. Tried to get a sci-fi, was more difficult than I thought. I was hoping to get Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury because my husband has a collection of his works. Fahrenheit 451 is not in there, unfortunately. And I was getting tired at that point, so I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to worry about it being a sci-fi just as long as it's set in the 1950s or published then. So for this one, I again was scrolling through and I found this one and I had it on my shelf. So I'm going to go with Lord of the Flies by William Golding. I never read this. This was one of my sister's books and passed down to me, but I've never actually read this. And so when Lord of the Flies appeared in 1954, so that's when it was published, it received unprecedented reviews for a first novel. Critics used such phrases as beautifully written, tragic, and provocative, vivid, and enthralling. This beautiful and desperate book, completely convincing and often very frightening. Its progress is magnificent, like a fragment of a nightmare, a dizzy climax of terror, or a terrible spell of this book. The terrible spell of this book. E.M. Forster chose it as the outstanding novel of the year. Time and Tide touched upon perhaps the most important facet of this book when it said it's not only a first-rate adventure story but a parable of our times. And articles on this and subsequent Golding novels have stressed these twin aspects of Golding: a consummate control of the novel form and superb, all-encompassing vision of reality which communicates itself with power reminiscent of Conrad. So yeah, I know this is about a group of boys that get stuck on an island. I think I've seen clips of like a movie or something. I don't really remember. But I'm gonna finally read the book. It's nice and short, and so it should go smoothly, I'm hoping. So there's that one. Then, because we have the two unusable discs, I needed a book that had something to do with the number two. And for this one, I'm going with Lyrael by Garth Nix because this is the second book in the Old Kingdom series. So, second, number two works perfect. So, in this one, it actually, so in the first one, you had a Borson and basically necromancer in reverse. So instead of raising the dead, they try to suppress the dead. And there's the Claire, and so this is about Lyrael, who's part of that group. So Lyrael has never felt like a true daughter of the Clare. Now, 2 years past the time when she should have received the sight that is the birthright, she feels alone, abandoned, unsure of who she is. Nevertheless, the fate of the old kingdom lies in her hands. With only her faithful companion, the disreputable dog, Lyrael must undertake a desperate mission against the growing shadow of an ancient evil. Um, in the sequel to Sabriel, New York Times bestselling author Garth Nix weaves a spellbinding tale of discovery, destiny, and danger. So I'm excited to continue on with the series. I read Sabriel a couple months ago and really, really loved it. So I'm excited for this one. I don't think I'm going to enjoy it quite as much since this is more like the sight versus the necromancy, but I'm still really, really excited to continue on with the series. So that was my choice for that. And then let's see here. So that is it for the game that gave us 13 prompts for the game. And then I do have my 2 books for my genre-thon, which I already talked about. So War Girls by Toshi Onobuchi, or Buchi. And then we have The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins as well. I'm going to be listening to War Girls, and I'm going to be reading this one physically, obviously, because it's YA May, and sci-fi or dystopian books are outside my comfort zone. And so that's what I'm going with, and I've already talked about those, and of course, most people know what the Hunger Games is about. And then for Autism Reads, which is put on by Christine over at An Autistic Reader, there's a Discord, and each month features a different book that has autism in it. And for May, it's Can You See Me by Libby Scott and Rebecca Westcott. So I'm excited to see. This should be nice and easy. I think it's more of like a middle grade. So it says, Tally isn't ashamed of being autistic, even if it complicates life sometimes. It's part of who she is. But this is her first year at Kingswood Academy, and her best friend Layla is the only one who knows. And while a lot of people are uncomfortable around Tally, Layla has never been one of them until now. Something is different about the 6th grade, and Tally now feels like she has to act normal. But as Tally hides her true self, she starts to wonder whether fitting in is really what matters most. Inspired by young co-author Libby Scott's experiences, this is an honest and moving story about learning to celebrate yourself and teaching the world to recognize you too. So I've really been enjoying the book so far. Just read the 2, but both of them were pretty solid reads. I haven't read the one for April yet. It's the beginning of April, and so yeah, I'm excited to see where this one takes us. So there's that. And let's see here. And then, of course, we got rollovers. Now, I'm hoping to actually finish this one in April, because one of the prompts for Kim's Game Expedition Through Pages, which I always participate in, is to um, pick up a book that you've already started, and the choice is definitely one I've started, and we're just struggling to get through a little bit, but we're about halfway through almost, so really hoping I can finish this one in April. And so if I do, this won't be on May's TBR at all, but I did just want to mention it because there's a chance I might not get to it in all in April. There might be a little bit left over, spillover, but it shouldn't be that much if there is. And then I'm going to plan on continuing Little Women in April too, but my April TBR is quite massive. And so definitely not going to finish this, but I'm hoping to read another 50 pages or so, and then it will just continue to spill over. If I can just read, 50 to 100 pages each month until I finish it, I'll be happy with that. Definitely taking my time with that one. Then, of course, we have our 2 ABC Author Challenge books that are kind of top priority to try to read this in May. Definitely not going to be able to get them in April. Again, if I can start them, I will, but I don't see that happening. So, of course, we have Eve by W.M. Paul Young and Who is the River by Paul Zallis. So, really want to finish that. I need to. It's been, I should have finished this in December. So, those are top priority. Then the rest of these is only if I have time. They're not officially part of the TBR. But if I have time, I would really, really like to read them. So first, of course, is Famine by Laura Thalassa, the 3rd one in the Four Horsemen series. I just really want to continue on with the series. I enjoyed the first one so much, which is Pestilence. The second one I'll be reading in April is War. And so I'm really enjoying the series, and I really want to continue it. So that's kind of top priority. As far as if I have time for extras, I want to include. And then the next top one is going to be Skin Game by Jim Butcher. This is the 15th book in the Dresden Files series. And so again, I just want to finish up the series. I was hoping to finish it up last year, but just got burnt out, and so this is the year to finish it up, and so I really need to be making progress, and they're such quick reads. So that's the next priority read. And then if I have time, I would also like to continue Death Note by Tsugumi Oba and Takeshi Obata. This is volume 3, so it has volumes 5 and 6, and it's a manga, so those are really easy to read as well. So again, if I have time, there will be that one. And then kind of the bottom of the barrel, if I have time, is going to be, again, The Magic by Lisa Kleypas. This one, I'm not holding my breath for, so I will try to get it onto my June TBR if I'm able to. So that is kind of the plan there. If I have all these books, the page count is going to be 7,111, and that does not include the employer library pick. I have no clue what that's going to be, and it doesn't include whatever I read for the Grimm Fairytales either. And then it doesn't include Little Women or The Choice because I don't know how much of those I'm going to get read in April, and what will be left over for that, or what I will read um, in May on those if they do end up rolling over. So yeah, that's already a lot of pages when it's not even the full amount. But with just that number of pages, I would need to read 230 pages a day. So probably with the extra, somewhere around 300 and something pages with the extra books. So we will just have to see how it goes. But I am really, really excited for what I have. And some of those are shorter, so they should be quicker reads. Some of them are chunky, but I'm normally, when I'm planning out, I am pretty strategic about what I'm reading. On the days where I can just fully read, I do strategize, and then the bigger books, obviously I try to plan those. Start them on, like, read a shorter book, then start a longer book on days where I have other things going on. So I do try to strategize a little bit. But let me know what you think about this TBR, if you've read any of them, if any of them are on your want to read, and what you are excited for in April. This obviously normally comes out mid-April or mid-month of the month before, and so you may not have your May TBR picked out yet. So either what you're excited for in April, or if you already know what you might be reading in May, what you're excited for then. But I'm gonna go ahead and leave you guys here. Happy reading, everyone. Bye.